Vanakkam, Karthakalam, today 13th February 2015. Today we're going to discuss one of the topic is understanding and misunderstanding of Tamil struggle in Sri Lanka. With me, Ravi Sundarlingam here. Ravi Sundarlingam is a ASATIC, is one of the research group academic secretary, and also is also highly qualified in theoretical physics. Here with me, Ravi.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And Ravi, tell me this. We're going to discuss about understanding and misunderstanding of Tamil struggle in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, there's three major communities, major groups. Yeah, we living for so long. We are happily in Sri Lanka, and all these groups, all these three major ways, we feel, and that Sri Lankan political system is discriminated. By the system, we were discriminated. But our Tamil struggle has dominated the history after independence. Is a longer period. Yeah. Yeah. Why these people feel that discrimination, and why is the misunderstanding happening?
I think we'll stick to the idea of misunderstanding. I think several people you have invited on your program have already discussed in Tamil as well as I suppose in English in other places. We'll stick to the misunderstanding. I think misunderstanding is a big word, but we are using it in a very qualified way. I think the misunderstanding comes from within, in our own way of understanding what we meant by our struggle, and also what we induced others to believe, like the Sinhala community or the Muslim community, or even the communities around us, like the Tamils in South India, and further to Delhi. And most importantly, where we will live now. I mean, what is the understanding the English people have of our struggle? So these are misunderstandings. So the idea of misunderstanding is that after 30 years of our struggle, we need to ask ourselves, why is that only a certain group of people seems to understand, the rest of them all seems to misunderstand or don't understand it. So we are discarding them. So it is this problem we would like to talk, I think. Well, I don't know what you want to say about that.
Ravi, after 30 years, you feel, or are we saying that we misunderstand our struggle? Or we don't, how come we misunderstand this struggle?
Well, this is an interesting question because, you see, ordinary cadres, ordinary activists, they don't misunderstand, they have been misled by the whole people who actually put forward the struggle. The first assumption is that we equated discrimination and that immediately to separate state. So we, instead of saying the state is obviously discriminatory, it's against the minorities as a whole, not just us, because the people who suffered first are the Muslims and the Chettis, and then the Malnada people, and even up-country Tamils. And all the way, bit by bit, we came to this end. Now, but instead of looking at this whole process, we immediately equated discrimination to separate state. So this idea, we thought we are separate because they identified us as separate people, therefore we are a separate people, is a wrong equation. So there's a misunderstanding for our people, ourselves, how we understood it. So the idea then, as soon as you say we are separate and make the state into separate equal to state and separateness the same, then people are claiming a separate nation.
Separate nation, yeah.
You know, identity as well as territorial integrity and all that kind of thing just followed suit as the way just we had it. We already had it. And the strangest thing is, even the Eastern people after 30 years, it's not just me doubting it, Eastern group of people, the Tamils, they don't seem to want to be part of this nationalistic thinking we had, or you other people had. I don't know, I'm not representing myself here because heroes had a different view, but not much different from the others either. We must be very careful about that. It's not, we can't just run away from the fact. They were very similar in many things as well.
So how that singular people especially, how they misunderstand us?
Well, there are two prongs in here. One idea was they misunderstood because when we presented our case as an international Tamil problem, where everywhere the Tamil people were discriminated, therefore Tamil needed a homeland, someplace. We didn't say, this is our place, we are Indian, Tamils can't come in, it is we will safeguard it for our own sake. We didn't say that. We said, not we, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking generally how it was pictured. I'm talking about Tamil Elam people, not Elam people, Elam Heroes type of people. So the presentation was that somehow international Tamil community needed a safe house.
Mm.
And that's going to be, at least at the moment,
Mm.
in Jaffna, and then extend it to other places and make it Tamil Nadu.
Mm.
And then later, maybe, if possible, Tamil Nadu as well, or and Fiji and everywhere, little homelands. So this idea, the pan-Tamilism, was a main problem which people misunderstood. Because it also gave India, at least in the Sri Lankan mind, an opportunity to intervene, which it did. But Sri Lanka and India as a whole, I mean the southern Indian states, have been invading the Sinhalese people all their life.
So you say this is the pan-Tamils, I mean the international Tamil.
Tamil. That's how you presented it.
Yeah, that's the reason this happened.
That's a misunderstanding from ourselves.
One of the factors.
One of the main problems.
What other factors are there?
The other factors is, we didn't understand, as I said already, discrimination,
Mm.
we equated to
Mm.
separateness.
Mm.
Second, so we didn't understand we can fight against discrimination like any other community which tried to do in Sri Lanka, including the plantation Tamils, or the rural Sinhalese population. They were discriminated, that's why they rose up twice. Whether they were misadventures or not, they did rise up against them. And we didn't understand why they were rising up. And we didn't bother to find out. So we couldn't understand a common understanding of against discrimination can be formed on a common basis. We didn't think that. Not only with the Sinhalese, forget the Sinhalese, but even among ourselves as Tamils.
Tamils
We didn't understand we should have a common platform against discrimination as a not a separate thing, but as a idea of fighting for justice. The third point is we also misunderstood the territorial integrity of the so-called decision to have a map for Tamil or Ulam or whatever, with the idea of our belonging. See, we decided our belonging, we got confused between the belonging as a right to exercise our power over our own belongings, which includes land, but we sort of obsessed with the land. We didn't understand the territorial integrity really comes second to actual, communal and sociological integrity. We didn't understand that. This is our problem.
In the past, it's 1970s, like Eros. You are like one of the founder member of Eros.
But no, not really. But yeah, go on.
You are one of them.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, okay.
In that time, you defined what is our struggle for. The first time, I
Yes.
think in Ulam struggles or
Yes.
Tamil struggles
Yes.
was defined by Eros.
Yes.
The first time
Yes.
they clearly said what is it.
Yes.
From that,
Yes.
then we changed our track.
Yes.
Yeah, we went
Yes.
through.
Yes.
After that, you said something, Eros said something.
Yes.
Okay, that's on the side.
Yes.
Then it's gone some other path.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What you define to that period? How do
Okay.
you define those periods?
Yes, this is a cataclysmic period for Tamil struggle because the Eros, luckily, was formed outside.
Yeah.
So Ratna Savavadi, who the founder member, together with Kanex and Shankar Raji, these are the three founder members, and you have to include Abler and few others before I come into the
Yeah,
scene.
that's it.
Even though I work closely with Ratna
Yeah.
and wrote a lot of articles with him, which other people don't know.
Yeah.
But generally, these are the people. So when Ratna understood from outside struggles, people understood. He went through the idea of Greek struggles and Spanish struggles. He understood the idea of separateness, really underwhelmed by the idea of discrimination. Discrimination is more important as a human being than an individual Tamil or a Sinhalese or English or whatever, which we understand better now. So that's why we are lacking on this idea of human rights suddenly, and everybody's going on the human rights bandwagon. But at that time, so Ratna's idea was to actually don't talk about separate states, talk about discrimination, form a rainbow alliance, which he didn't use that word, which I am using, but he gave the idea Eros people, the Eros people or Ilavar. The Ilavar is a common identity given to those people who are discriminated on the basis of linguistic sense. So anybody who spoke Tamil were part of that problem, facing the government problem, therefore they need to be. Now when you say the government problem, that's one side, but the Muslim people in the eastern province faced the same problem from the Tamils.
Yes.
Because they were peasants. At the moment they think they have changed upside down. At that time, they were peasants and we were the landowners. So that struggle, we have to incorporate that.
Yes.
So their struggle is our struggle too. So the idea of struggle against discrimination is much more broad-based rather than simply linguistic. The linguistic only identify between the Sinhalese and the Tamils on a state sense.
In three sense, yeah.
But in the sense of destination,
Then it's many
it
things.
brings everybody together.
Many
It
things
doesn't
and
matter what it is.
Many factors
Many
involved
factors
and
involved.
many groups
Many
involved.
groups, communities involved. You can't say Sinhalese can't be part of it.
From now onwards, how we going to define our struggle?
Yeah.
How we going to start our struggle against the state or discrimination or
This introspection, I mean, this is one of the kind of introspection we are doing. We are looking back and saying, can we say, could we have said something different? Why is that international community or India or Sinhalese people or anybody didn't buy any of the idea from us? At least they could have understood we were discriminated. And at least they should have understood, yes, I'm talking about Sinhalese people here, and they should have understood, yes, we have done bad things to them as a community as well as minorities together with other people. We could have rectified it and build a common identity as a Sri Lankan identity rather than a Sinhala based identity. So they could have understood it. We would have, if we had continued our struggle in a vein that helped them to also come out of their shell from their bunkers and come out and meet us and say, okay, until now we misunderstood you are separatists. Now we are beginning to understand you are propertists, if you want. You want your property rights in a simple way of language. So how are we going to sort out this property of the island when our property of the whole island is under threat from outsiders? So this is a good basis for us to talk, because now the property of the country is under attack from outsiders. This is what the main thing is. So the integrity of the island itself is under threat. Even sometime in a silly way, we are encouraging it, because we think if Sinhalese somehow lose, we will gain. No, the people who come to hurt Sinhalese are not necessarily going to not allow you to enjoy your freedom, because their idea of controlling them will be used against you too. So the idea of freedom or anything, we can't have it. If I have lost my eye, there is no point in blinding the other guy. You have one, I have one, therefore we are both equal.
So our struggle started at the early stage is the right way, right thinking, the right direction.
Yes, it
Then
was.
in a sense, in a way, move away from that track.
Absolutely.
And it's gone everything disaster.
Disasterly. It's two different tracks you can see. You can see the Mana pair were there, having similar thoughts. Like Eros people. They could have been very similar if they were left on their own to merge. If they were, unless if the Ilanyar Perave and the Tamil party, which is basically TLF, come into the scene. So once they come into the scene, is the idea of Tamilulam as a separate state already firmly entrenched.
That is what is.
That is what. So they declared in Pandatherampu, and then afterwards we became the outsiders with outside ideas and things which are not necessarily Tamil people's ideas. These guys are fantastic, fanciful ideas. But it's only after losing everything, when we are picking up other people's ideas like human rights, after killing and hurting everybody, now we are human rightists. It's only then we are realizing, other people's ideas can also work. So I think we should be more open rather than saying Eros was right. Eros was right in part. Okay, but we must make sure the younger generation start to understand where we went wrong, and then they can pick up the threads and start to think maybe some of these threads are okay, and some other persons have intervened and put that stop to that. So we must somehow move on. But the main problem is to make connection with the other communities. Even today, even in an administrative way, we can't get hold of the Muslims who work along with us. And we are blaming them. Or Sinhalese for that. In the area living with us. This is the biggest problem. I must tell you one thing. You see, tigers are blamed for a lot of things in the East, for killing and everything. But I was impressed by a lot of people on the ground. The real people who actually did the real damage at the time, our own heroes originated EPRL people. They were in Pavakkode Chene, they went and did the unbelievable killing against the Muslims. Which my personal friend, not my political friend, Bazir says, made him decide, no, I must change side. I'm not going to be with this for longer. Until Eros is there, I'll be there for loyalty's sake, after that I'm leaving. That Muslims, I am a Muslim, that's come first. This is what he told me. Then when you go and see Pavakkode Chene, you can understand. Now the Sinhalese are struggling there, trying to survive. This is what I can say.
Okay, Ravi, from here,
Mm.
what the next hope
Mm.
we have, or we
Yes.
can go forward?
Yes.
How we can?
Well, Ravi's ideas are not important. Most important idea is what we get together and concorded something.
All together, yeah.
We all
Mm.
did that together, what we call MOU.
Mm.
This 43 organization came together
Mm.
3-4 years ago. We put out a very good statement,
Mm.
which now seems to be part with other group ideas and so
Mm.
on. And even the government is saying some of the things which are similar to it.
Similar to-
So that says there is a bridge built.
Mm.
So, but nothing concrete has been arranged. It's because there's no proclamation with other groups which are also facing the discrimination, which includes the Sinhalese groups.
Mm.
Sinhalese group, Tamil groups, Muslim groups. So what we need to do, we need to extend this argument of MOU with other communities and not just the Tamil MOU. It should make it into a pan-communal thing. So that in the north and east at least, we have an MOU. Minimum. But actually we should think about east as a whole, the island as a whole.
Mm.
It's no point talking separately when you are asking for a settlement within the island.
Within the island, yeah.
When you are saying that, on one hand, you can't just talk about only north and east, because whatever decision made in Colombo is going to affect you anyway.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we need to approach as English people already.
Mm.
We are already too late.
Mm.
So this is what, and when we are getting older and older,
Mm.
and few of us are going to disappear sooner, and whatever. And it's very important, the younger people pick up these pieces and start looking for these threads, how to take it over the communal barriers, over the community barriers sometimes, even within ourselves, community barriers. So to make the MOU into much more broad-based, accepted, but reclaimed and re-understood and in somehow redefined. But essentially, similar ideas, thought process. That's what we should be trying to do as an older group of people still around, trying to advocate something. And so advocates, not advocate as a policy, advocates as a kind of direction, not policy.
I think that's. Thank you very much, Ravi. Today,
Thank you very
that's
much.
it today.
We should approach that.
We
We
already have a document. Is written down around 2-3 years back.
Yeah.
In here in London. Also, anybody, if you like it, please subscribe our YouTube and encourage us and comments us and tell us what we're doing right, wrong, and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.